cutting the bevel on the table saw. Ooh, what are the pitfalls? Well, here's one. As you can see, there's saw carve marks in my piece of wood. Yeah. Well, anyway, why does that happen? I'll tell you why it happens is because we want to push our piece of wood past the blade, but we're trying to hold it to the table saw top as well as the fence, you see. Yeah, so what's happening? We're actually pushing it down against the blade. Normally, it's a perpendicular cut, and then you push it down to the table. That's not an issue, is it? Because it's perpendicular. But because it's 45, you're pushing against the blade. Now, as you can see, there is no riving knife. And I'm pointing it out because I'm sure somebody will. There will be a riving knife on the saw at some point when I get a chance to work out how to fix one to it. Now, the thing is, the riving knife won't solve this issue anyway. The riving knife should be slightly thinner than the actual saw tooth and slightly thicker than the actual saw blade stock. But most often, they're not. Usually, they're too flippin' thin. It ain't going to stop that. No. So, anyway, I thought I'd just get that out of my system. What you need to think about is when you're pushing across this fence, where does your piece of wood end up? Now, let's say, for instance, here's my stock, okay? That I'm cutting all these loops to shutters from. All right, there's a stock, all right? As you push it across your actual fence, that little thin edge there is potentially going underneath the edge of the fence. That's one problem. So you're not going to get exactly the same thickness every single time. Sometimes you'll be under the fence, sometimes you'll be on top of the fence, on the side of the fence. It's not accurate. So, whenever you have a situation like this, or any profile or moulding, the ideal thing is to mimic it on the fence. And that's why I knocked up this thing, all right? There's more to it than just this. But as you can see, there's somewhere to put your clamps, all right? And we have this 45 here, which I've waxed. It's a simple little thing. And that fixes against this fence, just like so. So that's the first stage. That's the first thing we need to do. Now, all I do with that, obviously, I just grab a couple of clamps. Now, what you don't want, really, is to do this. Because needless to say, that can end up in your saw blade or it can rattle loose, especially these F-clamps, because these are good ones, these are Bessies. They can work their way loose and it can end up in your blade. You don't want that to happen, obviously. So if you have a little slot in there, now it could be a case you've got a thick piece of wood and you've got some holes bored in it with a spade bit or a Forstner bit. But either way, you want to clamp it to the fence there and at this end as well. But we need to do more than just that. We do, honest. Right, so that is now fixed to the fence. I've already checked the actual blade angle with my digital angle finders. I'm not worried about that. It's not what this video is about. So, there is another issue. When you put this fence against the blade like so, you are still going to give a potential problem of ejection, or not that kind of, not erection, ejection, okay, of your wood. Oh my giddy aunt, where am I going with this? Anyway. It can shoot, oh crikey. I need to increase my vocabulary. Anyway, you can get ejection of your wood backwards, okay? Or it could still do this. All right, you don't want that. You're going to carry on getting that issue on the side because it'll be resting on the saw blade. You need to get the wood through as quickly as you possibly can, obviously with the speed of the cut. Obviously, you don't go too fast because you're never going to cut the wood properly. It's going to be rough. But it needs to be even. You see, where it's not even or you get a knot, you'll get burning like that. Which I'm not that worried about the burning. It's the grooves I don't want because I've got to get rid of them. Now, what you need is something to hold it down. So what I tend to do is I grab a piece of wood. Hello, Wally. My dog's down there. You'll say hello, Wally. Come here, fella. I've got no treats in there. Oh, actually, I do have a treat. I have a treat in this pocket for my little Wally dog. Come here, fella. Oh, up here you go. Oh, this way. Oh, up here. Oh, there you are. Oh, blimey. He's my little Wally, hence the name of the channel. Right. Do you want a treat, Wally? Then we'll get back to what we're doing. Yeah, you might leave me alone then. I've got one. Yes, oh, you're going to help me with the saw. I've got another dog come now. Oh, blimey, got two of them. What's that? Got crumbs in my pocket. There, Sebastian. Right, that'll do you. You already had enough. Go and have that and go on. That'll do. And you'll get down. You'll get down now, Wally. Come on, you. Oh, you little boy. Oh, you're wiggling. Hello. Anyway, so what we have to do, we have to hold the piece of wood with a bevel on to the table saw without using your fingers. So there's one I prepared earlier. I'll place that in there like so. And I've got this little thing here, which I'm going to place on there like so. Right? But I'm going to put it to the front. Now, I will actually put a hole in there so I can put the clamp in properly. But I only just did this, so it was just a bit of an experiment. So I thought I'd show you. So that's laying on there like so. But this piece of wood isn't straight. I've put a curve on it. See? Right? That's the pressure point there. Not there or there. There. And the reason I've done that is so you can feed it in easily. Because all I want to do is hold this piece of wood down to the actual table saw so it doesn't actually lift. And providing that pressure onto the wood also prevents it from being able to, a little bit more pressure, helps prevent it from actually shooting back at having ejection. That's it, so I've got a bit of resistance there now, okay? So you're less likely to get ejection. So, should we try it? Let's just make sure it's the right thickness first before yeah, it's about right, that's good. So we've got this piece of here, this piece of wood, which I've glued up, ready to do these loops on. So hopefully everything is tight. We've got a push stick here. Haven't really needed it. So let's make a few cuts. Just noticed something. When I double checked my angle for the blade, I had to bring the blade out further. That's not where I wanted to be. Can you see? It's too high. So I'm going to just retract the blade a little bit before I start making my cuts. You know, we're not using guards, because I'm getting a lot of criticism about guards at the moment on the channel, which is fair enough. You know, if you want to use a guard, use a guard. You know, this is my workshop, and I'll work how I want to work. I don't like using guards; they get in the way. And I think when something gets in the way is when you end up knocking something, your hand goes against the blade instead because you're trying to avoid the guard, not the blade. If they come up with a decent guard, like a decent side guard that doesn't restrict the width, a freestanding guard even would be quite good, but then again, on the other hand, I ain't got enough floor space. So, and also they get knocked and swing into the blade. We need a perfect solution. There isn't one at the moment. Not what I've come across anyway. Just got an even cut. Keep it going. So there's no ejection, and I can just carry on. Now when you get close to the edge, you'll make other provisions. You don't want your fingers anywhere near it. You could use something like this. Use that anyway if you like. To be fair, it's nicer. So anyway, have we got any saw curve marks? No. 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 So it works, you know. So all you got to make sure you do is you want some way of supporting the edge of your workpiece, like so, so it meets the profile of your work. In this case, it's just a simple 45. Also, you want to better hold it down to the actual table saw. Don't really want to use clamps like I've done there. You really want to have something that can't, when it relaxes, don't end up in the blade. See here, it fits into this space. Here was an afterthought, so I haven't done that yet. So what I'll probably end up doing with that is boring a little hole in there and using one of my clamps as this very simple round, like a bar goes down basically. If you haven't got one with a bar that goes down, what you can use is, if you're a bit handy, if you've got an old one of these clamps, right, you can basically grind the end up in the round, or cut it off and weld a bolt or a round bar like so, so it just fits inside a hole. Okay, but yeah, it works. It does the job. Depends what you got in it. You know, you got to work with what you got. This is the saw that I've got, and that's what I'm working with. I'm not about to buy a new one because I ain't got the money to do so. And there's a lot of people out there don't have endless amounts of money to buy expensive pieces of kit. because most saws you get out there aren't on the say under £1,000 or dollars, around that sort of money. They don't have good fences. They just don't. This saw in its time was reasonably expensive, but the actual guard with it is rubbish. Let me just show you. Yeah, there's the monstrosity. This thing is crap. Absolutely useless. So that's one form of guard. That's the riving knife. As you can see, that's too flipping thin. And we've got all this flipping guard mounted just on this 2 points, this very thin riving knife, which just doesn't make any sense. Another form of guard over here, which I could make work, I suppose, is this one with these stupid little floppy things. Yeah? You know, none of this stuff is going to help you, you know. Just keep your hands away from the saw. That's what you've got to do. And I understand if you haven't got any experience with a table saw, I've digressed a little bit. If you haven't got any experience with a table saw, well then, okay, maybe guard's a really good idea. But if you just use simple practices, like you don't stand in line with a saw, have as much help as you possibly can that doesn't involve your hands, such as clamps and a fence that works for the job that you're doing. You know, like if you're going to cut a panel, don't cut a panel up against the fence. If you're doing cut-offs on a panel, that will be another video. You know, you're going to get kickback. You know, and potentially ejection. Just a mess. Tell you, that'll spin around on top of the blade and cut your fingers off or something stupid. That'll gut you. Anyway, how do you cut your profiles on the table saw? Do you just go up against a fence, or do you create a fence to meet the profile? That's what I'd like to do. Just makes life easier, you know. Anyway, please click the like button, maybe subscribe to the channel, and a little bell icon, because then you get a warm and fuzzy feeling in your pocket. That's scary, doesn't it? In your pocket every time I upload another video. Toodaloo.